A very warm welcome back to GlobeTrotting. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as your support would be greatly appreciated. Yes, the Airbus A350 is a modern marvel of aviation that many adore viewing at airports around the globe, and subsequently flying on. It can be seen in corners worldwide, and has cemented itself alongside the Boeing 787 as the next era of flight. New commitments do roll in yearly, and customers are always eager for open delivery slots to secure the capabilities of the Airbus widebody. A few variants in the A350 series exist. The -900, the -1000, very generally. However, included in this is your likes of the ULR option too, for customers that seek additional range on top of the aircraft's base maximum range. Nowadays, when listing the variants, it doesn't feel as if anything is really missing. However, well over a decade ago, that wouldn't have been the case, as we would be forgetting to include the smallest member of the series, the A350-800. The A350-800 is an aircraft that never saw the light of day, so let's explore that very jet's place within the industry, and its subsequent downfall that led to it eventually being scrapped. Aiming to still be fuel efficient, the -800 was targeted as an aircraft with a smaller capacity. It would seat towards the 270-seat market, depending on how customers configured their respective aircraft in the end. That can always change. As such, this was less than the -900 and -1000, which both seated far more, thanks to their additional fuselage length. The A350-800 did acquire orders throughout its history. However, customers generally ended up moving towards the A350-900 or elsewhere with time. This was the middle ground and was seemingly becoming the more popular variant. Therefore, a hurdle was sustaining demand for a smaller variant that would no doubt fit a more niche market. As a result, Airbus needed to find ways to propel the aircraft. As the -900 and -1000 progressed well and hope of the A350-800 seemingly faded away, the realization within the company, as well, that it was potentially becoming a distraction was ushered around the industry too. Focusing on three variants can be challenging at the best of times, especially if one may already be having, say, a trying time in the early stages of its development. So sometimes, as they say, it's better to cut your losses and put your focus elsewhere, in a part of the business that may actually see more positive repercussions for the long term. Market dynamics played a significant role in the cancellation of the A350-800. Airbus analysed market trends and found that airlines increasingly favour larger aircraft, with improved efficiency and extended range. As the A380 wasn't an option, Airbus's next largest program was that of the A350, so it quickly became the lone figure in their long-haul portfolio. The two currently existing variants, the -900 and the -1000, you could definitely make the argument, addressed customer needs, especially in the long-haul space, with one variant, or you could say both, offering great economics, but one specifically catering more so to range, being suitable for higher capacity journeys where demand needed a larger aircraft. So, because of all of this and other considerations, the -800 was just kind of there. 2014 is a year many remember as the actual ending point of the A350-800 if it hadn't already been collecting dust. This was the birth of the A330neo, the new engine option to the ever-popular and reliable A330, which was announced, with the A330-800 and the A330-900 coming with it. For those customers that didn't want the A350, they may have felt that the -800 was a compromise. Well, that was until the A330neo came along and presented the perfect opportunity for airlines to make the switch. And, well, that they did. Customers that had orders for the -800 that seemingly believed that variant wasn't progressing made the switch to the A330neo. And when you had Airbus executives, and former ones at that too, explaining that the A330neo was probably a more logical choice, it highlighted that the smallest A350's journey was ending maybe before it even really began. While the cancellation of the A350-800 might appear as a missed opportunity to some, given over, say, at Boeing, their 787 has 3 variants and are all very successful, including a smaller lengthened type, it was ultimately a strategic decision taken by Airbus that they believed to be the right one. Something else to also consider when taking a look at how commercial programs have developed at Boeing, they never really replaced the 757 and or the 767. There's always that argument, and there'll always be discussions about what Boeing are going to do next. So there's a gap quite clearly between the 737 MAX and the 787. The 787-8, being the smallest aircraft, was maybe their best pitch at that, although you'll always have those airlines that wanted simply something different. So through Airbus themselves assessing market demands, customer preferences, and a whole lot more on top of that, within the company it was deemed that progressing with such a variant just wouldn't make sense in the long term, and this wouldn't be the first time, and certainly I have no doubt won't be the last time that something like this happens at the company. From a financial standpoint as well, the case could be made that it was superb to really just focus on 2 sole base variants that were going to be highly successful, and it meant that Airbus was able to make better sure that they were handling these planes in the best nature possible, and optimizing them to be the best versions of themselves that they possibly could, which would then not only trickle down to customers, but very generally speaking for Airbus, have themselves an aircraft that was universally loved and worked within the company. The birth of the A330neo, though, really did seal the fate of the A350-800. While the A330neo, yes, hasn't sold, say, in the thousands, it does have very low development costs, thanks to it just being a re-engined of an existing type. It means that Airbus has the freedom not to need a considerable number of orders to make a return on it. So, whereas the case could be made for the A350-800, more pressure did surround it. Ultimately, how things ended up for Airbus probably went more than fine. Was it a mistake to cancel the A350-800? All things lead to the answer being no. However, we can always step back, enter dreamland, and think about what it would have been like to have 3 variants of the A350 series. Potentially, would this then have changed the course of direction for the A330neo? Who knows? If you have any thoughts on the A350-800 program, its birth, cancellation, orders, and potentially the implications of the launch of the A330neo, you can let me know down below in the comments. A massive thank you, as always, for supporting what I do here on GlobeTrotting. I always thoroughly enjoy producing more long-form content, really getting into analysis, and kind of just having fun with it, with many topics. So if you have any ideas, you can let me know down below in the video description, where there is a direct link to a Google form submission. Thanks again for your support. Take care and be safe, and I will indeed see you next time for more aviation analysis.
And we'll fly.